Alrighty, welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bailey Eichbrett, and unfortunately tonight, Andrew's currently sleeping. It is almost midnight here, Eastern time, but I am joined by Mr. Adam Bartusik, Mr. Adam Deakin, and we are going to be going over a little preview show for Lake Fork Bassmaster Elite Series event next week. That's about to kick off, and also we're going to touch base a little bit on what we saw go down and our thoughts were about the Sabine River event. Real quick for you guys, I know, Bart, you've been busy all day. Deacon, it sounds like you've been the same thing. Real quick, what have you guys been up to since the last time we've heard from you?
I have just been fishing. That's about it. I've honestly been on vacation. I took my first vacation since I started my gig. So I've just been hanging out with the girlfriend for the last week and chilling. It's been really nice. And then I'm going to be stupid busy starting 2 days from now. So we're right back at it.
Good for you, dude.
Good mental health week.
Yeah, it's been fun.
What about you, Deacon?
Yeah, man. I'm finally back in Colorado. I was greeted by snow, so that was really cool. Snowing right now and is for the next day, maybe two. But dude, I've been on the road. My gosh, this is probably the longest string I've had of tournaments in a while. I was in Oklahoma for 3 weeks and then drove through the night to make it back for a team tournament here because it qualifies for that Bassmaster Team National Championship deal. So, dude, I've been on the road. I fished the Costa and Grand. That was really fun. Learned a lot. Messed up a little bit day one, but I think I ended in 76 out of 168 or something like that. But not all that great of a finish, but was glad to save the points. I think I'm sitting in 32nd in the points, which is I need to be in the top 25 to make that Toyota Series Championship. So I'm right there. I got Lake Dardanelle here in 3 weeks here. So I don't know. Overall, it was good. Had some good derbies on the string and some bad ones. And overall, learned a lot, man. I hadn't been on Grand before. And, man, that lake has a lot of really healthy quality, 3 to 6 pounders in it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
They're chunky, man. Oh, my gosh. I was catching fish on beds. I was catching fish at the end of the last day on a spook. I caught everything, man. It was pretty lights out fishing. It was just a matter of running into those bigger females.
Right. Heck yeah, dude. Well, I got 2 things coming down the pipe that are pretty big, but I don't want to talk about them in a preview show, so I'm going to save it for Monday Night Live.
All right.
Deacon, I will chat with you after when we get offline here, but for the folks tuning in, it's more of a 5 to 10 minute conversation than anything else. And I know people are listening to this for one thing only, and it's definitely not to hear about my personal life. So we'll save that for Monday Night Live for the folks that might care a little bit about it. But I think first and foremost, what are your guys' takeaways from the Sabine River beyond the fact that it was the second smallest limit in Bassmaster history?
Go ahead, Brooke.
I think the Sabine was a Sabine. I don't know. Did we expect anything different? I didn't expect that low weights, but really, did we expect anything different? It fished like it does.
Right. I didn't even realize that it was that record of a low as it was until they came out at the end and said that it almost broke. I think it was Delaware Rivers is the lowest 4-day weight, but they said that it basically almost touched that. Which I had no idea, but it was interesting because I think if Taku Ito would have found his deal a day earlier on day 2 and not day 3, because it wasn't a deal a spot area. It was it wasn't an area deal. It was more of he found a pattern deal in a very popular area, and he started getting into much bigger fish. I think if he found his deal on day 2, Taku Ito probably would have won it.
Yeah.
Which also that clip of him on stage is awesome.
Dude, so cool.
He's just the best.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
I ran into him on Lake Chickamauga, and he pulled into this one pocket that I was already fishing, and he pulls up to me and basically just goes like in Taku Ito voice and everything, just you care if I fish, and like points forward like in another direction that I wasn't going. I was like, you're good, dude. I was like,
Yeah.
It was cool. He was cool. Like he was teaching his son how to fish and everything like that. It was Destin and I, when we were down in Texas, actually stayed right next to him, so we got to say hello to him more too. That dude grinds like literally every day is on some body of water trying to learn something. It's kind of insane. Like the guys coming over from Japan to try to make it just seem like they have extra gear.
Well, and his like, it just seems like, I mean, all like, I have mad respect for all the like Japanese anglers and everything. Like they're all so good, but it just seems like Taku's like personality is just kind of on a different level from any others who've come over, like right from the get go. Like he's not shy at all.
No.
And it's awesome. It's just the best.
Yeah, it's just raw passion, which you can. It's obvious, and it's kind of those things where it's almost like an uplifting thing to watch him kind of do his thing, and it's really cool to watch him because like, I mean, majority of the Japanese guys kind of have a different style, and obviously they have. I'm sure if you went like through their boat, like it'd be entirely extremely eye-opening to see the stuff that they might have coming over that we've never seen before.
Well, and that bait he was using that he took a picture of in the gallery,
dude.
like nobody has that in their boat. That plastic.
I honestly haven't even seen it. I haven't seen that yet. I need to look it up.
It was like a Nico rigged. It was basically a Y-shaped plastic. I don't even know what it is.
Looks super weedless. Dude, well, it just reminds me, like when you say that he's just a grinder, man. Like I watched some old thing. This was probably like 5 or 6 years ago on Takahiro Mori when he first came to the U.S. and stuff. And dude, just talk about like incredible grind. Like he's just sitting there in like broken English talking about like he's like, everyone here is better than me, so that means I got to work 5 times harder than everyone else here. And he's like rigging tackle in the middle of the night, and it's just like, man, it's true. Like, and that's where he's at. It's crazy.
Oh, it's so cool to see. And I just, other Sabine thought I had, and I just want credit for this. Remember when straight up, I just want credit for this. Remember like this whole season after the St. John's when I was like, I think we're going to start seeing the Seth Biter AOI run? Here it is.
Yeah.
It's here. Like I said, I was like, if he gets, like, I wasn't really, Knoxville might even be his worst event. I think.
I believe you're correct. But I'm going to share screen Taku's bait here really fast because I literally just looked it up as we were talking about it because I haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah, no, I don't know what it's called.
Was my screen going crazy to you guys? Was that flickering to you guys?
Yeah, it was.
That was, well, I don't know why it's doing that. It's the thing
it doesn't want you to show the bait.
Yeah, that's probably why. Or it's like, hey, it's midnight, dude. I want to sleep.
But no, that bait's super unique. I don't even know what it is. I don't know why or what the reason you would use it, but it's cool.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to talk to him about that. But
yeah, no, the fighter AOI run, like I had said, I was like, you got Knoxville and Pickwick, lines up with what he likes to do, did well at Pickwick, just fine. And then you get to Sabine, and I was like, I know he hates the Sabine River. Mm-hmm. Like, very audibly, he said how much he hates it there. Mm-hmm. And to get a top finish, then, like, take the lead at certain points, like, that guy is flying high right now. Like, going into Fork, where he doesn't have a lot of good record on Fork either. He's got some big fish, but –
didn't he do well in November?
Dude, he doesn't have a bad record there. I thought
it's not bad. It's very. He does fine.
No,
he doesn't
dude. No, he does though, and we'll get into this on the picks. But he's got 2 just out of the top 10s. I think he finished 11th and 12th both last times they were there.
Okay, so never mind. He does pretty well there. But anyways, like I look at Gunnersville, like he's notoriously good on Gunnersville.
Yeah.
You just get him in grass. And then Neely Henry, I don't know how that'll be, but nobody really knows. But at that point in the year, he more than likely won't have a bomb. And then
Well,
he goes north.
Here's the thing, too.
Like, he goes north, and it's like game over, done, set, match. Like, he's not going to get below top 15 at St. Lawrence or Champlain. Like, it's just not going to happen. So, if you want to catch him, you got to catch him now.
Like,
that's crazy. It's
Uh-oh. Is Bart frozen for you, Deacon?
Oh, I'm back.
He's coming back.
There he is. He's back.
Where did I freeze?
You're talking about somebody. There's no way he gets higher than 15th, which obviously we both agree with. And
yeah, no, it's just crazy at this point in the year. You basically have to say you have to catch him now.
Right.
Like at this point, like you have to catch him now, and you still got Gunnersville in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I
it's like he's having a heck of a year, man. It's cool to see a northern guy going for AOI. When was the last person who did that?
Hartman might have been the closest one.
Has anyone from north of the Mason-Dixon line ever won? Or, well, I mean, Ike, I guess. But who was the last person north of, like, the Mason-Dixon line who would be a northerner who won it?
Let me pull this up here.
That's just what I'm trying to think of. Is it Ike?
It probably is. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, one of them is Ike. Let's see every AOI winner.
And if you look at really, I mean, let's see.
So, anyways, I just wanted credit for that.
credit given.
I mean, now that I'm taking credit for it, it'll probably bomb somewhere and hate me forever, but whatever.
Exactly.
That's what I was saying. You got to knock on that wood behind you.
Yeah.
A fighter coming for your head.
He's 8 points above Patrick Rogers, and then like 16-ish, well, a little more than that, like 20 points above Drew Cook or something like that.
But those are two guys who struggle up north. That's what I mean.
Right.
Like, you got to catch them now. You got to catch them at Fork or Neely or Gunnersville.
Yeah,
Which
and then it drops off
can
pretty
be
quick.
done, but it's just really laying out well for Seth Fighter.
For sure.
Okay, this actually does not list out all the AOI. This is really annoying. Let's see. Good gosh.
Well, we can try to fill dead airspace.
Yeah. We'll talk about your guys' your fantasy results because we're gonna get into this trash fire here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. So I told Deacon before we started. I told Bailey that I didn't think I won this one, and then Bailey said, "Don't be so sure. This is actually my worst event." And I was like, "How's that possible? You got to be in like the 50th percent right now." And he is, for the record. He's at 57%.
Awful. My worst year ever, dude. I went to this event, and obviously I picked Schmidt, Menendez, Frank Talley, Luke Palmer, and Quentin Campo. And originally, for some reason, like in day one, day two, for some reason, I thought I had Randy Sullivan and not Frank Talley. So I'm like, I am killing it besides Brian Schmidt, who ended up at 90th. Huge surprise for me, honestly. I thought he was going to do well. But I went and I checked my the fantasy fishing going into day 3, and I'm like, son of a, I picked Frank Talley, not Randy Sullivan. So I had 3 guys in the top 30, and I have Brian Schmidt, who ended up in 90th, and Frank Talley in 84th. So I had 899 points.
That's actually not that terrible.
It's pretty bad.
It's bad.
And real quick, to kind of answer that topic we were on, we completely missed Kevin Van Dam's multiple AOIs from some.
Yeah, but I didn't know if Ike won his after, so that's my.
Ike won in 2006. Polnick's technically a northerner.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. Completely missed my bad.
But other than that, dude, like there really isn't any. Where's Brent Chapman from?
Kansas.
Okay, never mind.
So I wouldn't. I mean, he's probably
close to like Table Rock. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's close to
I wouldn't consider that necessarily.
No, I consider that south.
So you got KVD, Ike, and BP. So you got 3 household names.
Yeah, probably similar to the like relation of how many Northern guys there are in the Elite Series field overall compared to the Southern guys.
Corey Johnson was pretty close last few seasons. He was in the top.
I'm sure he'll end up right there. He's been having a pretty good year, hasn't he?
Chris Johnston is an ace in AOI right now.
Okay.
There's a pile of guys with 300 points. For like Jason Christie, who's in 4th, through Chris Johnston, Hank Cherry in 7th and 8th. So there's just a ton at 300, but really the 3 front runners are Fider, Patrick Walters, and Drew Cook.
Gotcha. Okay, so back to the Sabine. I'll say my roster, like most probably in fantasy, Hackney hurt me and Tally hurt me. However, I did get saved by my Caleb Summerall pick. Top 10, so he made the final day, and I had Whitaker get through the cut. I ended with a total of 900 even.
Do you beat me by 1 point?
I beat you by 1 point.
That's some bullshit.
And I'm trying to remember Andy's picks. Dude, I ended up okay, man. I had 1,026 points.
My reign of terror is over.
Huh?
My reign of terror is over.
That's right. Dude, Brock Mosley was my awesome pick, man. I just felt like after that second place, and I looked at his results, he'd done well here. He ended up in second, obviously, behind Christie. Derek Hudnall didn't do well. He was my bucket B, finished in 81st. Scott Canterbury did well day one, was sitting in 27th, but dropped to 71st. And then my last 2 picks, I had Clark Wendlandt, who ended up in 30th, and then Harvey Horn, who ended up in 25th.
Solid event.
So updated standings, albeit that we don't have Andrew's results because he slacked and fell asleep early on us. But we have Bart leading with 5 points because we're doing golf scoring for everyone's reminder, or for anyone that's new, we're doing golf scoring, a little competition between the 4 of us. And obviously we don't have Andrew's scores, but then Deakin, you're in second with 10, and I am in last with 13.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So I still got a solid lead.
You have a 5-point lead.
All right. I'm not feeling good about Forks, so I said I wasn't feeling good about the Sabine either, so this will be interesting.
Depends a little bit on
especially now.
Yeah. It depends a little bit on what Andrew had, because one of us could have more or less points there, depending on where he's finished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Either way, Bart's leading by 5.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So I think first thing that I guess my question is in terms of Lake Fork is, do you guys think we're going to see a record-breaking 4-day limit?
Yes.
Record-breaking, not just century mark, but you're thinking like
total.
What? What's the record? 120 something?
Wait, actually, I said yes too quickly. I don't know what the record is.
Because the last time we were there was 114 and then 108 or 103, I think, is what Patty Walters did. So I don't think it's going to be that much more than 114.
Oh, yeah, never mind. I take back that question. It is 132.8.
Yeah, no.
Man, here's the thing. There's a chance. They're hitting it dang near perfect.
I know, but Fork's not what it used to be, and
yeah, it's
you're
just
talking about a time when Falcon was
TTBC record, man. 3 days he had what? He broke the century mark in 3 days.
That's true, but it was a while back. I don't know.
It's possible.
All right, let me rephrase this question then, because we could go on and on about that. But how many bags do you guys think will be over 100 inches?
100 what? 100
inches?
Pounds?
You kayak angler?
See, dude, it's 11:45. Cut me some slack here. 100 pounds.
Oh gosh.
Do you want a realistic answer or my ballsy answer?
Both.
My realistic answer, I'm going to say 6.
That's a lot.
Over 100. My ballsy answer is everybody in the top 10.
Oh my god.
The last day will end up over.
That'll be stupid fun to watch.
I talked to all those guys about the week they're hitting it when I was down there, and they're all like, dude, this is like, it's going to be outrageous.
Well, and that's
that cold snap helped push everything longer.
It's so delayed this year, which is going to be kind of crazy because you're just going to have this crazy heat of a bunch of spawners, and then you'll have guys who have some guys that have like a post-spawn deal going on already, and it could just be lights out in both respects, where guys are probably going to have both patterns.
Realistically, could there be some pre-spawners still?
I have no idea. I don't know the South that enough for at least this time frame to know if there's some that still stay pre-spawn this time of year.
I just don't know if I've seen a huge push of people being like they're spawning.
Well, here's the thing.
Plus, you mix it with the shad spawn potential, like, bro.
Well, here's my opinion on that, and it's if a guy on the Elite Series, a professional, goes and finds pre-spawners in practice, and you have a 4-day event, warming in Texas, so obviously those fish every day are moving closer and closer to spawn. I don't think any of them, even if there is a pre-spawn deal, are going to stick on it because those are fish that are leaving you.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But still, to get 1 or 2 the first 2 days, because those pre-spawners would be big.
I won't say no, just because I don't have the knowledge at this time of year.
Yeah, I don't know if there will, but either way, what you're looking at is you're going to have a full-fledged spawn, I think.
Yeah.
I had a friend down on the fort 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago now, and they're catching them off the bed.
Okay.
So I'm going to guess it's mostly going to be spawn, post-spawn. I mean, there'll probably be another, 10-pounder on a bed somewhere. Those, big ones still, spawn's like a month, 2 months, right? Just waves roll in. So, but I think the majority of the event will be spawn to post spawn. I think a shad spawn could be going on, which would be awesome. And I think it's going to be a lot of top water and just big fish.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be fun to watch.
As long as no wicked weird weather comes through. But with the Elite Series in 2021, something's going to happen.
Right.
More than likely 10 inches of rain somehow.
Let's see, what's the day the tournament starts on the 22nd, the 25th. Let's see.
What do we got for weather, Bailey?
I'm looking at we're gonna have a full moon for next weekend.
Oh my God.
So
I need to change my lineup to more
It says it's going to be like a perfect full moon will be April 26th, which is that Monday after day 4.
Yeah.
So they're going to have essentially a full moon all 4 days. Yeah. So that could be a stupid spawning deal.
Yeah, I know they probably had fish trickling up, but they're going to have every damn fish in that lake that's been thinking about spawning the last 2 months going, I'm going to spawn.
Yeah, so that's going to be stupid bonkers, dude.
Yeah. So now 6 and 10 sound outrageous?
No, I'm very curious to see your guys' weight predictions because after looking that up, I am changing mine. Yeah, and I already thought I was shooting high. Yeah. But why don't we just start diving into it because we already it is kind of simple what we're kind of narrowing down. It's probably going to be one, bed fishing in some capacity. Deacon, do you want to start us off, I guess, with your Group A pick?
Sure, man, but I'm like half tempted to change it now. I think I shouldn't just because every time I guess that seems to burn me, although we're kind of a good ways out. Right now, based on kind of what I was saying about Seth Fighter finishing 11th and 12th and just the role that he's on, I think it's a little bit risky just because he hasn't broke the top 10, even though it's been super close. And man, I think it's fair to say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, that in Bucket Group A, which obviously makes sense, right? It's the guys who are doing really well. But not only that, the guys that have had history on Fork, I would say in Bucket Group A, I could see half the top 10 being in Bucket Group A.
Yes.
If not that close, like it's loaded, dude. So I'm going to go Seth in that one. that may change last minute, but it shouldn't. I'm gonna go Seth. He's just on a hot streak. He's finished 11th and 12th both the last times they were there. He's figured out the southern largemouth, and I mean, I could just see him doing well.
I like that. That's a good pick.
So I'll go next, Bart. I like to, as I've done this whole season, which obviously has not been turning out well for me, I've been picking all low percentages to try to get the edge, and it still has yet to turn out to help me. But we're going to do it again because why not? We're already burning this trash can, so we might as well just make a complete dumpster fire of my entire season. Maybe one tournament it'll turn out right. But so amongst that entire group A of just straight hammers that can all catch him in a sight fishing deal, I went with one of the lower guys. He's at 1.2%, and I went with Corey Johnston because he's done well there. He's known to do well sight fishing in the South. So I'm going to have a little gut feeling pick and go with Corey Johnston over the other 15 guys that all could do well sight fishing. So
I do really like that pick. Corey's really good. Shallow.
Mm-hmm.
I like with largies and just southern largemouth.
All right. What about you, Bart?
So my pick, I actually just changed it because when we were talking about it, and low key, I also did my lineup as I was driving home. I was having the girlfriend plug them in. So then I saw one, and I was like, "Wait a second, we're going here."
Do you call her the girlfriend when you talk to her too?
Yeah. So originally, I had Lee Livesey because a local and everything, but he hasn't really done that well there compared to being a local. And
do you think, real quick, do you think that he has like some mega juice that he refuses to hit until there's like a classic at Fork or something?
I don't know. Probably
when
not.
There's 100 grand on the line, you're gassing all the juice.
Yeah. So I actually went with, and I'm surprised his percentage is only at 11%. I went with Patrick Walters for the reason of obviously what he did there last year. But more importantly, we have all forgotten somehow how good Patrick Walters is shallow.
Mm-hmm.
And like with sight fish, shallow fish in general, like that guy's insane. And yes, Fighter's on an incredible roll, and I do think he's the head to win AOI. But I think Patrick Walters is like, this is his type of event because he can live scope him post spawn, and he can go pluck him off a bed. Like and shat spawn. Like he's gonna be right in his realm. I think he's gonna smash him.
And he almost won the Open in Florida.
Yeah, dude.
He's top 5.
He's on a roll. Completely on a roll. And now it's been with live scope, and now we're gonna see him do what he's done like the last however long. Fish shallow.
Yeah. I think that's a good pick. I like both those picks.
Definitely. Deacon, what about you for Group B?
All right, so Group B, man, again, this kind of burned me the first event doing this, so I got to be careful. So I didn't do it with all my guys. But when it's a place like Fork where they've been there recently a couple of times, I kind of like playing the numbers game of where guys finished, especially in that 2019 event, just because it was pretty similar time frame. I mean, we're talking a week after. So my bucket B pick is Stetson Blaylock. He hasn't had all that great of a season in comparison to kind of his years past. I think he's like kind of right on the classic line cut. Still got a lot of season left, but anyways, man, he's finished like, I want to say 13th and like 8th or something right around that like top 10 cut both times they've been there. And he's good shallow and can sight fish really, really well. And so that's kind of my guy.
Thank you.
I like it. He's very versatile too. So with kind of all the stuff going on there, I feel like he'll fit in well.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I went Group B in the spirit of sticking with sight fishing. A guy who just had his first top 10 ever as a rookie. I'm going with KJ Queen because him and his dad are known in the Carolinas for sight fishing.
Oh,
so
cool.
I think he'll obviously understand the sight fishing deal. And I'm kind of more taking a chance on him. Obviously, he's 1.1%, so I'm obviously playing percentages as well. I think that if he can get on a spawning deal, he can catch them and catch them quick because that's kind of a lot of what he knows in the Carolinas. Just kind of taking a chance on this one. I don't really have a great reasoning behind it beyond I know he's a sight fisherman at heart in the Carolinas and playing percentages here.
The podcast.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so KJ is actually coming on the podcast here soon because I don't know if you guys heard about his hectic morning on day 4 is forgetting gas to put gas in his boat and then drove to get gas in his boat and his PFD with his kill switch flew out of the boat while he was driving to get gas. So he was quite a mess on day 4.
Oh,
so
God.
we're gonna get him on to talk about all that.
That's nightmares, dude. One thing real quick before you go, Bart, dude. I want to talk about bucket B too. That is the freaking rookie bucket. There are so many high quality rookies in bucket B. It's insane. So like,
Yeah.
I've only picked a rookie once this year, and it worked out. Maybe twice, but it worked out great. And I need to probably take that more into account. So anyone that's listening, like bucket B's got a lot of really strong rookies that don't have a good record in the elites that are really strong. And I think that like it's never a bad idea to pick some of those high level rookies.
No, they've been fishing well. And actually, on that note, I'm picking an Elite Series rookie who's definitely not a rookie. This bucket, I'm going with Scott Martin. I'm going with Scott off of the fact of like having worked with him the past few months. Like I know how much Mark Pack meant to him, how good of friends they were and everything, and just how much he knows him. I don't really know how much time exactly he spent on this work with Mark Pack, but like I know this event means like a lot to him. So I'm going off of that. Plus you're talking sight fishing, big fish, shallow fish down south, like pretty hard to go against Scott Martin. I know it's not Florida, but like he's been fit other than like the St. John's River fiasco, which I don't even know what that was. He's been good. He's been doing good. For some reason, he gets a live camera in his boat on day 3, though, and he's just terrible. But, yeah, I don't know. So I'm going with him there just off a gut, like, emotional story pick. I think he's going to do really well.
I think it's a good pick. I think the other thing, too, man, is, like, veterans, like, Lake Fork has been so historic in so many tournaments, right, that, like, veterans have spent so much time on that body of water, whether it's for a media event, whether it's for a tournament.
Yeah.
Like there's just, those guys that have been in the industry forever know Lake Fork a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they're comfortable sight fishing and they're a veteran, you can obviously be comfortable with that pick for this event.
For sure.
So for Group C, Deacon, I'll start us off here because my picks are obviously establishing a pattern here. Besides one. And that is I'm going with Derek Hudnall for one. He's a small percentage, 3.4%, but also you watched how he waxed them on St. John's River, had a really good event, sight fishing. I think that'll translate well to Fork. So
dude, I think it's a stellar dark horse pick, man. He's who I had originally picked until I did some more of that kind of studying the results, and then also just taking like the easy way out on this one with Keith Combs. But like I looked at Derek Hudnall, man. I think he's finished both either top 10s or dang near it in the last 2 times they're at Fork. So I think it's an incredible pick, especially at 3.4%. And some of those Louisiana guys, man, I spent a lot of time on Fork just with regional championships and that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a group of a lot of sleepers.
Dude, yeah, there's a ton of sleepers, and then there's obviously the 1,000-pound gorilla in the room, Keith Combs, and that's my pick, man. I mean, he finished 2nd and 7th the last time they were there, and obviously he's won there. He's incredible, and it's in that post spawn, and he's just got so much stuff there that even though he's a 41% pick, I've been kind of sticking to having one bucket where I choose that high percentage pick, and this is the one I went with Keith Combs and bucket C.
It makes as much sense as picking a Johnston for the St. Lawrence River.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Bart, what about you, dude?
On that note, Keith Combs. Keith Combs on Lake Fork. Like,
yeah.
insane.
It's kind of my rule with what the high percentages is. If it hits 40%, you got to go. And
I like it.
And it's just like, dude, it's Keith Combs on Lake Fork. Like, the guy's caught so many giants and so many mega bags. Like, you can't go against him. However, I do agree with Deakin on the sleepers. Like, there's a lot of sleepers in this bucket. And I'll just say two that I would really keep an eye on. Like, number one, like, if I had to pick a guy, I know we do this kind of towards the end sometimes, but if I had to pick a guy to win the event that, like, I can't pick because Keith Combs is in that bucket, David Mullins, for some reason, I think is going to catch him. And I don't know why. I feel like he does well there. I could be
cranker, man.
But I just feel like Mullins could do really well. And another one is Gussie.
I was thinking that too.
Gussie,
Dude, look at.
I haven't looked at his record there, but I feel like he's done well there. But he's got a knack for catching really big fish. And, like, he kind of, after his win, he kind of had a couple hiccups, which happened. But he's been spending a lot of time in Texas. Like, when everything got postponed and he couldn't go back to Canada and everything, he was always in Texas. So, yeah, those are two guys I would really look at.
I got more, man, just because Bucket C, now that I'm looking at it, it's loaded more than you think with a lot of sleepers. And again, I don't know if you guys saw too that the new fantasy fishing drain the lake thing. This kind of went into some of my picks for that because it's guys you can't get back, right? So I think in that one I chose both Luke Palmer and Skylar Hamilton. They both have had top 20s the last time they went to Fork or close to that. And then, so both two names that aren't super popular. And then also one that's on here that is just an incredible sight fisherman and from Texas is going to be Clark Wendlandt, man. Veteran, crazy good at sight fishing. I think and he's got some percentage there around him. But I went with the easy pick there, but there's a lot of dark sleepers in there.
Definitely, without a doubt. I think moving on to Group D. So I went, majority of all my picks were all sight fishermen. But in the spirits of changing up a little bit, trying to give a little bit of a nod to this post spawn deal that could happen because the spawn has been going on for about a month now. I went with Austin Felix at 1% because a guy that could figure out a post spawn deal that's good with electronics, but also is comfortable getting back up shallow as a backup plan. I kind of went with a little bit of a hunch and went with Felix. What about you, Deacon?
I think it's a good pick, man. Dude, I went with Chad Pipkins, and my initial thought was, okay, all these guys are choosing, or why he's at 13%, just slightly below kind of Frank Talley and the local favorite. I was thinking, okay, it's probably from all that footage, right, where he was just catching them cranking. And so I was like, I don't really know if I'm going to go that route. I mean, it's going to be post spawn again, and maybe he just got lucky at that spot. But dude, he's fishing really well. He's really good on that kind of post spawn stuff. And both times they've been there, again, he's done well. He top 10 in one, and then I think he finished 13th or something in the other one. So yeah, definitely knows what he's doing on Fork. So that's my bucket D.
Well, because you mentioned it and Bart already gave his up for the show, my gut feeling pick was Chad Pipkins because obviously he's been in that position to potentially win on Fork before, and being that he was already in contention going into day 4 on Pickwick, maybe he's put the pieces of the puzzle together to therefore make a move on a day 4 if he's got that weight going. So my gut feeling pick that I have not picked for fantasy fishing would be Chad Pipkins to win. At least, but Bart, who is your Group D?
Group D. This was my bucket that I looked at everyone and I didn't like anyone. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that happens every event, and we all have to deal with it. But I went with Frank Talley just because from Texas, good stick, hasn't really been having a great year, but I feel like those Texas guys always do good in Texas. So I'm going with Frank there. Yeah, I just feel like he'll catch him. I don't really know if he'll make day 4 or anything, but I feel like he's a safe pick.
Heck yeah. Can't really go wrong with picking the hometown boys.
Yeah.
But Bart, why don't you kick us off and finish us up here with Group E?
Group E. So Group E, obviously, everyone always says it's a really hard bucket. There's a lot of old school veterans in here that have a lot of experience on fork. But I'm going with Daryl Gleason. He still just hasn't really had a great event, but he's a really good fisherman. And I know he's kind of from on the border down there-ish. I think it's Toledo Bend. But I'd assume he has a little bit of experience there. I really have no clue. I'm just going with Gleason because I think he's a really good stick, and I think he'll figure it out compared to maybe the others there. And he is an Elite Series rookie, but in my mind, he's kind of a veteran. He's been around forever.
Yeah, and he did really well on Sam Rayburn in the Opens last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Deacon, what about you, dude?
Yeah, man, I think that's a good pick. I went with Jay Ellis. Jay's had a lot of experience on fork. He's fished well both the last times they were there. And, man, I think he's good when he's looking at him, and just one of those old kind of veterans that have been around it a lot. I, was like, okay, 62% of guys are with Chris Zaldain, and I mean, Chris has finished well there both times, and he is just such an up and down fantasy pick, and he scares me. And so I went with Jay Ellis.
It's kind of like similar to picking Steve Kennedy in terms of fantasy.
Yeah, Zaldain seems to be getting into that territory. I don't really know what's going on there, but
I'm really surprised to see Rick Clunnan 2% after the bags he's put up on fork.
Yeah, he's had some good finishes there.
Yeah.
So I went with recency bias in terms of that 2019 event, and I went with Garrett Paquette, who broke the century belt, did well, and more of just the dude needs to pick me up. So hopefully, maybe me rooting for him, we'll give him the pick me good event. But yeah, he does well in a sight fishing event. He's good with post spawn. He likes getting offshore with a big plug. Hopefully that can kind of be a setup. I know things are delayed this year, but hopefully, he'll have fish either on bed or a lot of fish coming to and from him if he picks an offshore deal.
Hey, it's delayed this year, but Keith Combs is somehow going to find fish out in 16 to 20 feet with a 6 to 10 XD. Like, he's going to. So it doesn't matter. So Paquette's doing the same thing.
Right. That's a very good point. Yeah, there's some good picks in here. Obviously, you have Zaldain. I think Paquette is respectable. I think you have Daryl Gleason, like Bart mentioned. I think, obviously, I don't know. I still don't understand how Rick Clunn's at 2%.
You know who's someone in this bucket I looked at and I really thought of for no particular reason other than I was like, I just think he's going to catch him, and I don't know why. But it makes no sense. You could say this is terrible. Chris Groh. For some reason,
I'll tell you.
He's just going to smash on this event, and I don't know why. But, I don't know. He just likes ratting around up shallow.
Yeah.
Banging his boat into stuff, and he's just kind of been shafted a lot this year with certain things that have happened. And
literally.
literally, man. He's not had the greatest things happen, and he's due for some good karma, and I feel like this is a place that he could just rat around shallow and do his thing.
Yeah.
Run into some double-digit fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to second that one.
He'd be like the guy who weighs in like a 9.6, an 8.9, and then a 2.2, a 2, and a 2. You're like, oh, all right. One way to get 22, 23 pounds.
Right. Yeah, with his track record this year, but yeah, go ahead, Deacon.
Oh, I was just going to say I am surprised that out of all our picks, and obviously we don't have Andrew here, so maybe he would have chose, but we don't really have any Elite Series, I would say, like, top-level veterans right now. So, like, Christie, Paul and Nick. No one chose Paul and Nick, right? And then Hackney, man, like 3 absolute hammers. and we don't have any of them on here. And they're all good big fish fishermen. So I thought that was kind of crazy. I mean, obviously they're all in bucket A, but just kind of a thought I had when we were all going through our picks.
Yeah.
It's just really an event that like you look at and you're like, hey, there's like these 10 guys that you're like, 8 of them are going to be in the top 10.
Dude, yeah.
Like, you look at it and then you go, but those last 2 could be 50. Like,
Yeah.
compared to most events, it's really weird, but like you're like, these other guys, like there's some guys who could just smash them because just the way it's laying out. It really, a lot of guys, and the thing is, everybody's been excited about this event. Like everybody's like, I can't wait for Fork. So you're gonna just see a show. It is gonna be unreal.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have a tournament this week because I'm gonna be glued to it, or next week rather, be glued to watching this thing, dude.
Heck yeah, it's gonna be a blast to watch. But Deacon, who's your sleeper pick? Your gut feeling?
Oh, and it can't be one of my picks. I'm assuming. Who did I have? It probably would have been one of the sleepers in bucket C. So let's say sleeper pick. I'm gonna say your pick, man. I think Derek Hudnall could go off. I do. I mean, I think that he is been around a long time catching fish, sight fishing, and this is going to set up perfect, and he's done well here in the past. Not like some crazy sleeper pick, but kind of is at 3% and isn't, Keith Combs or any other big names in bucket list C.
Right. Heck yeah. So I'll kick us off here because we're going to wrap things up here in a second. Yeah. It's past midnight here for me, and we don't have too much left to cover. But I'm going to kick us off with the weights. And I had started out with 106 pounds for my weight, but I'm going to bump that up to 114 after looking at the phase. Bart, what is your take on that?
I went even higher just because I know how much everybody's looking forward to it. And I said I think there will be 6 guys getting century belts. Like, I think you're going to see a ridiculous event barring any crazy rain, but the way it's looking like it's going to be, I think we're going to be good. I went with 123.6.
Oh, bag.
30-pound average. Damn.
Jeez.
I mean, dude, you saw Pipkins win 2 dirty 30s last time. I think he did. Or maybe it was Cobb.
Yeah, but man, it's hard to do that 4 days in a row.
Hey, but you catch 35 and 34. You don't got to do it the other days. You catch 25, 25.
This is true. Very good.
Yeah.
True.
What do you think, Deacon?
I know it's crazy, but like, dude, Forks just got him. And that's like, dude, Walters in the fall caught 103.
No. That's pretty nuts.
It's got him.
Yeah. I'm right with Bailey, dude. I'm at 114 5 ounces is what my pick was, and mine originally was 108, and I went up a little bit, kind of with that spawn pick, and just thinking about, the weights. I can't see the weights being worse unless weather comes or anything than it was in 19 when Cobb jacked him, and he had 114 something, I think. So that's my thought process around that number. Because that was even farther post spawn, than this one will be.
Right. And unfortunately, we don't have Andrew's picks or his weight. But if I know Andrew, he probably would have picked like a Greg Hackney, and I know he would have picked Destin DeMarion in Group E. But either way, I think this event, obviously, as we talked about it in every single group, besides maybe like a Group D that was really difficult to pick somebody, like there are so many guys that have potential. Like I think honestly these Smash Fests, these projected Smash Fests are so much harder to do well in fantasy fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a perfect, like after we just watched, like I think on BTL they were talking about, Ken Duke was talking about the other day, the lowest amount of like fish weighed in per person. They're averaging like below 4 maybe now after the Sabine. Like just low fish. And like after watching a grinder at Knoxville, a grinder at the Sabine. I mean, Pickwick was good, but all the weather changes. St. John's was kind of good, but meh. Like a great event to watch, but like not crazy. Like you're heading to an event where it's like we like mark it down. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah, dude, professional fishing, like you talk about on a MPFL level, MLF, and Bass, so it's like the big three right now. Every single tournament, even including heavy hitters that they just had, was a grind.
Yeah.
Like no one's out there. I mean, there's been big fish caught, but no one's smashing them.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where like, what the heck is going on for one, and two, like I think fans are just itching, and I'm sure the anglers obviously are itching to just beat somebody's face in. So
yeah. And that's exactly what's going to happen at 4.
Yeah. Well, I hope that happens, obviously. And to the folks out there that have any takes on it, let us know down in the comments. Reach out to us on social media if you're not already following Mr. Bartuzik or Deakin and his show that he has, Business from the Bass Boat. Make sure you guys are checking those out. Do you guys have any last remarks for folks? Because if not, it's almost 12:30 here. I am ready to hit the hay.
You can go to bed.
Go to bed, dude.
All right. So sounds good, fellas. As always, folks, we appreciate you guys tuning in. See you guys on Monday.